singing tonight? Brother Luke, you feel like singing tonight? Come on. Sorry, just got mics filled up. Come on. Come on. All right, Brother Luke, you're going to be over on one of them. I need. All right, Heavenly, come on. Come on, hippie papa, sing over here. Right over there, Brother John, Brother Luke, you be over there. Yeah? Heavenly's going to help you. Sister Jackie, you feel like singing now? Hello, Grandma. Yeah. Your favorite song? We was talking about this song Sunday. So we're going to sing it tonight. Listen, we're opening our prayer list for any and everybody that would like to add someone to the prayer list. We got a bunch. Put Sister Wilma Glass on there, please, Sister Tam. Put Sean's mom on there. Shannon, and put Sister, put Jayla Smith on there, and Sister Michelle, and put Sister Patty Epperson on there. Patty Epperson's family, Sister Sue Northcutt. There is coming a day. Receive our Tuesday night offering. If you've come to give and to love Jesus with a gratitude that God's been good to you, and you'd like to help some family with, if you'd like to help some family, the Lord said you'd be helping Him. He said, "He that gives tonight, give unto the Lord as you're giving unto the Lord." So come and give tonight as we ask Brother Johnny to ask the Lord to bless our offering.
Heavenly Father, we come to you again tonight. We just thank you so much, dear God, for this another opportunity to come to you, Heavenly Father, to praise your name, Heavenly Father, to pray for the ones that need prayer. We pray that you'll just take this offering now, Heavenly Father. Pray that you'll multiply it and take care of the needs of the church, Heavenly Father. The people in the church that are needy. Pray that you'll go with us now through the rest of this night. Watch over us. Lead us and guide us, Heavenly Father, the ways you'd have us to go. Forgive us for we failed you. For asking in Jesus' name. Amen.
Come on, get it. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. Each Tuesday night, we ask someone that's a faithful prayer warrior to come and share 10 minutes of inspiring words with us to elevate us and lift us up, press us in the right direction. Tonight, Sister Susan Cooley. We're going to encourage her a little bit.
James will tell you I struggle with this. I thought I always take it serious when God wants me to speak or somebody asks me to speak. And I asked the Lord, I said, what do you want me to speak about? You know, I was thinking, what could I say to encourage somebody? And he said, I want you to talk about marriage.
Amen. Bring it.
So this might not be the ordinary like exhortation, but it's important. That's what God wants to speak about tonight. I'm gonna be.
Let me give you a microphone. I'm sorry. You're on worldwide television. 7 billion people are watching you tonight. 7 billion people are watching you talk about marriage tonight. Check that out.
I'm going to be coming from Matthew 19, 3 through 6. And it said, the Pharisees also came unto him, tempting him, and saying unto him, is it lawful for a man to put away his wife for every cause? And he answered and said unto them, have ye not heard that he which made them at the beginning made them male and female? And said, for this cause shall a man leave father and mother, and shall cleave to his wife, and they twain shall be one flesh. Wherefore they are no more twain, but one flesh. What therefore God hath joined together, let not man put asunder.
Amen.
So when it says that he twained them, it means to join.
That's right.
And if you look up, and if you study it out, it actually means to be yoked, to be equally yoked together. So when they ask this question, if you read it clearly, and like he's saying no. They're asking for any cause, and Jesus is answering no. But then, that was his answer. But you know, when we ask somebody like, is it lawful for us to divorce? They don't give that answer. They give what God answers the second one, and that wasn't the answer. So the second, keep on reading, and it says, they said unto him, why did Moses then command to give a writing of divorcement and put her away? And he said unto them, Moses, because of the hardness of your hearts, suffered you to put away your wives, but from the beginning it was not so. So it's saying from the beginning, when God created man and woman, there was to be no divorce.
That's right. That's right.
And he said, Moses, because of the hardness of your heart, suffered you to be put away your wives, but from the beginning it was not so. And I said unto you, whosoever shall put away his wife, except it be fornication, and shall marry in another commitment adultery, whosoever marrieth the which is put away doth commit adultery. So trying to put it like the way God wanted me to put it. The answer was no, but when the second one, it was a special circumstance. They were under the law, and at that time there was more than one spouse. They could marry, and what was happening at that time, men were marrying other wives and then forsaking their first wife. And so, since they were under the law, God said, you know, he said that Moses permitted them to divorce. John 1:17 says, for the law was given by Moses, but grace and truth came by Jesus. So law says that you can divorce, but grace says you can't. Grace, and that's totally opposite, because you think, well, grace says I can do it and it's all right, and law says you can't, because then we know that the law gives us all these commands that says, no, you can't do this, but grace kind of gives us but it's opposite. So get that in your mind. The law says you can divorce, but grace says you can't. So I've got 3 points. Marriage represents God on the earth. Genesis 1:26 and 27. It says, and God said, let us make man in our image after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish and the sea, and over the fowl of the earth, and over the cattle, and over every earth, and over every creeping thing that he creepeth upon the earth. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created him, male and female created he them. What is that saying? Male and female marriage is in the likeness of God. That's why marriage is so important. When you look at marriage, that is the likeness of God. That's the reason the enemy tries so hard to come against your marriage. Because if he can break marriages up, if he can cause discord, then what does it do? It allows the world not to see God. And back in Genesis, when the temptation come, Satan didn't attack Adam. He attacked them as a married couple. And that's how it's been. When a lost person looks at you, they should be able to see one. It says God's a triune being. It's Father, Son, and Spirit. And then we're spirit, soul, and body. And then in our marriage, we're husband, wife, God. The second point, marriage represents Christ and the church. Ephesians 5. It says, it's 23, it says, for the husband is the head of the wife, even as church is to the head of the church, and he is the Savior of the body. Amen. Therefore, as the church is subject unto Christ, so let the wives be to their own husbands in everything. Amen. Husbands, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for it. Then I'm going to skip down to 31. It says, for this cause shall a man leave his father and mother, and shall be joined unto his wife, and they shall become one flesh. This is a great mystery, but I speak concerning Christ and the church. Nevertheless, that every one of you particular so love his wife, even as himself, that she reverence her husband. So together in marriage you represent God. Amen. But as an individual, man represents Christ, the wife represents the church. So if I was to ask me and you a question, if a lost person come and asked you, I'm broken, my life's a mess, but how is God going to treat me? How is he going? Can you honestly say, God's going to treat you like I treat my wife? Let that sink in. What would they say? They say, well, I don't want to serve that God. Because what? Laughs at, speaks down to them, orders them around.
That's right.
Have you ever thought about that? Or is it the opposite? They say, you know what? If God's going to do me like you do your wife, that's what I want. Because he's going to love her. He's going to protect me. He's going to honor me. He's going to treat me like royalty.
Amen.
Now let's look at the wife part. Wait a minute. If another woman come to you, a lost woman or just a woman in the church, and she said, how do I pray for my husband? I mean, how do I pray to God? How do I speak to God? What you gonna say? You say, well, I'm gonna give you the perfect example. It's the way I speak to my husband. Let that sink in. What kind of example would that be? Would it be, I can't pray like that. I can't cuss him out. I can't be disrespectful.
Yeah.
I can't tell all his weaknesses to everybody. Marriage is very important. It's more important than you think. Malachi 2. And in this, I don't want to go through all the scriptures or that. God is giving the Israel the reasons why their offerings and their worship isn't being accepted. The whole thing, that's what it's about. God's giving them the reason why He's not accepting any offerings and worship. In 2:14 it says, "Yet ye say wherefore?" Well, He said, "Yet ye say wherefore? Because the Lord hath been witness between thee and the wife of thy youth, against whom thou hast dealt treacherously. Yet is she thy companion and the wife of thy covenant. And did not he make one? Yet had he the residue of the Spirit, and wherefore one, that he might seek a godly seed. Therefore take heed to your spirit, and let none deal treacherously against the wife of his youth." So in this thing, the first one that God was telling them they wouldn't accept in their own was because their faith was in order. And so it must have been important, because the second one was that the family was out of disorder. Yeah. So what does that tell me? We always hear, you pay tithes, all that stuff. You have to forgive, go forgive. But this never gets brought up. Yeah. It's saying, if you're not in order, then your offerings and gifts not going to be accepted. Yeah. Okay, so using that, marriage represents covenant. Yes. If you study it out, contract, a lot of people, especially the world, they look at marriage as a contract, and broke down, it says that contract means we protect our rights and we limit our responsibilities. But covenant means we give up all our rights and we pick up our responsibilities. So let's look back at the question. What if someone asked you, how do I know that God will keep His promise? Can you say, look at my marriage. Look at the covenant that I've made with my spouse. Can you say that? And going back, the law and the old covenant, what the old covenant was, in simple terms, it was God saying, I'm going to protect you, I'm going to provide for you, I'm going to bless you, but I'm going to give you all these laws that you're incapable of keeping. And God and people agreed. What's the new covenant? The new covenant is, you know what, I know you can't, it's so impossible, but it's not about being legalistic. I want you to have a love relationship with me. So God sent His Son to come and do what we couldn't do, live the life that we couldn't do, Amen. And die the death that we deserved. Amen. That's the new covenant. So compare it to your marriage. Marriage covenant is the same way. We have grace, but grace is, so you compare it to your marriage, it says if my spouse isn't keeping his covenant, I'm going to be covenant with God. It doesn't matter what that spouse is doing, I'm going to hold my part of the covenant. Because what I show the world is I want to show the world God. And that's where the church is failing. And I was studying some stuff today, and it said that in the 1930s, 80% were married. Yeah. And now it's like 49%. Yeah. It's because the enemy come in and broke all the marriages up. Let us compromise with the world, that we look more like the world than we look like God. So I'm going to go to 1 John 4:16 through 18. And we have known and believed the Lord that God had to us. God is love, and he that dwelleth in love dwelleth in God, and God in him. Herein is our love made perfect, that we may have boldness in the day of judgment, because he is so that we are in the world. There is no fear in love, but perfect love casteth out fear, because fear hath torment. He that feareth is not made perfect in love. We love him because he first loved us. If a man say, I love God, and hateth his brother, he is a liar. For he that loveth not his brother whom hath seen, how can he love God whom he hath not seen? And this commandment have we from him, that he who loveth God love also his brother. If I was to ask you this question, what does it mean when you say you love your spouse and your family? Would you say it was passion, if it was emotions? Because when you're in the flesh, you're run by your emotions. If your love is emotion, I'm going to tell you right now, your marriage, every relationship you have is in trouble.
That's right.
We know that God is love, and God's love is agape.
Amen.
It's unconditional. And that's what I'm going to get to tonight, is that we shouldn't let our emotions run our life. We shouldn't let emotions run our marriage. Your will, your choice to look like God, to have a covenant with God, to have a covenant with your spouse, and let your emotions be at the end. We need to love like God loves us, and love our spouse and our family, and show them God.
Amen.
And then I'm going to end it with Acts 3:25. Ye are the children of the prophets and of the covenant which God made with our father, saying unto Abraham, and in thy seed shall all the kindreds of the earth be blessed.
Praise the Lord. Amen. These young folks really need to hear that relationship, the truth about relationship. Thank you for saying that. And, you know, we need to be reminded of it too every once in a while, Brother Lucky. You know, and we should treat our wives like Christ loved the church. And they need to hear every once in a while that they need to treat us just like they treat God. Can I get a witness? Tell me, we need to hear it. Thank you for bringing the truth tonight. We're about to come right. Young folks, did y'all hear that? You base everything on emotion, it falls apart. You base it on truth. Agape love. Friendship. If you ain't friends, you won't stay together. You gotta have more than I love you. You know, that's become a cliche now. Everybody says I love you and they don't even know you. I love you. How do you love me? Yeah, I mean, you know, love is established. It's an established relationship. Come pray, would you? Father, in Jesus' name, thank you for the words Sister Susan brought. As your people attend the altar tonight, may they seek the God of true love, the God of covenant, the God of true relationship, the God of hope, the God of tomorrow, the God of forever. We pursue you tonight, Lord. Thank you for the words spoken by Sister Susan. Bless her for her pursuit of you and pressing you into our hearts tonight. Lord, may we call on you tonight because, Lord, at the same time one was passing away and dying, at about the same time another was being born. Such a vast swing from death to life, from life to death. And in the midst, God, there's sick folks and hurt folks, but in the midst there's also the saints that are shouting and praying. So Lord, hear us tonight. In Jesus' name.